Good
Alright,
morning, good afternoon, good evening.
good everything.
What's the latest? What is the latest today, yesterday, this week?
Well, yeah, as far as yesterday is concerned, the most exciting news that came out was an incredible partnership between EVEN.biz and UMG.
EVEN.biz and UMG. Do we say yeah, I never know what to call them because it's Get Even and it's EVEN.biz and
Get
then
Even
Get
is
Even.
more of a is like a tagline, right? Like let's get even, like something like that. I
Yes,
think it's more of a tagline that their founder keeps using in all LinkedIn posts and even in all of their social media. Get even, get even. It's more like uh, motto slash tagline.
that's true, you know. But yeah, for
And
those who don't know, do you want to what is even?
yeah, okay. So for any of the listeners who don't know who Even.biz is, these guys started out in 2022, founded by a guy called Mag. I think Mag was ex Generator 8, if I'm not wrong. Um, and they have an incredibly strong executive team over there. Anyway, they're a
Yeah,
music platform
and
in
um,
2022.
um,
Yeah.
Chris Lubin as well. Chris was the CMO. He's also ex
Mhm.
Spotify. Chris was
Okay.
also outside of Spotify. He was what's that sneaker reseller called? Not
Complex?
Goat. No, sneaker reseller. Like it's like where people
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
it's not
Oh,
not Goat. It's very much like Goat. StockX. Yeah.
StockX, yes,
Yeah,
StockX.
he's also like former like I think like head of brand and partnerships and
Oh, wow.
marketing there. Yeah, Chris is dope. So as well as him. So this Mag, this Chris. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so great exec team, obviously. Anyway, founded back in 2022, way before people were looking at direct to fan as the future. I mean, people are experimenting. There was Bandcamp, obviously. But yeah, these guys started back in 2022, strictly as a direct to fan marketplace, which was allowing artists to sell music, exclusive content, and merch directly to fans, bypassing the traditional streaming services. And the main motto was to provide higher revenue and faster payouts to the artists, right?
Yeah,
uh, Coming from Spotify, coming from SoundCloud, all these guys already know what the industry looks like, what streaming looks like. And one thing these guys have already always told, that they are not here to replace streaming, they are here to run parallel to streaming. Direct to fan is not something that will replace streaming, but rather run parallel to streaming, or let's say a step above streaming, wherein streaming becomes more of the discovery and direct to fan becomes more of the exclusive stuff that you can do with your fans.
yeah. And what Even has done really well, right? And from how I understand it, is
Mhm.
that they essentially handle. It's not necessarily pre-release, right? But a form of pre-release. So before the music actually hits streaming services, there's a period in which the artist and their team get to completely exploit this whole period. You know, and exploit, we say
Correct.
it, in music terms, it just means like, get yours. Like my understanding of what where Even shines, or at
Mhm.
least the primary part of their model is that on release, before the music actually hits Spotify or any of the streaming services, there's a
Yeah.
period in which the artist get to completely take advantage of this opportunity to engage directly with their closest fans and figure out who wants to support us in what way, and we can sell directly to you. And there's been many cases where the revenue they've generated just in that initial period, I'm not sure exactly how long the initial period is. It may be a week, give or take. I'm not sure. I think we need to check that. But there's been several cases where the revenue generated in that initial week was significantly more than was generated over a much longer period of time on
Yeah,
streaming. So it's really interesting,
for
you
sure.
know? Yeah.
So it's obviously, I mean, that's part of strategy wherein before release you have it. But ideally, it's anything exclusive. For example, you have J. Cole, right? Um,
Yes.
J. Cole put out his 10-year anniversary 2014 Forest Hills Drive campaign on Even.
Yeah. Which is
Uh,
amazing. A genius as
yeah,
far as like a kind
and
of a
that
reissue.
yeah, exactly. The campaign helped return the album to the Billboard Top 15, by the way, a decade after its original release.
Wow.
Uh, so that was great. Then obviously you have other exclusive stuff. For example, there are many people who have done deluxe albums and then put it out on Even. Like the normal album is out on streaming platforms everywhere else, and then you have a deluxe album that is specifically only available on Even. So there are different kind of strategies that people have implemented. Obviously, the main moat is exclusivity, that you're getting something on Even that you won't get anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And of course, um, J. Cole just put out the Fall Off, um, which is amazing, right? In the sense that this is probably one of J. Cole's most hyped albums, if not his most hyped album of his career. Because he's been hyping this album since the release of his second album, I think. He's
Yeah.
been talking about the Fall Off. Yeah. And the Fall Off is supposedly the album that he's been making his whole career. So I think J. Cole fans may correct me on this, but it's almost like a lot of the music he's been making all these songs throughout his career. So a lot of them are new. I would assume, I've given it a listen, and some of the content is obviously today up to date, blah blah blah, whatever. But the fact is that it's supposed to be like his retirement album. It's supposed to be his biggest album ever, the album he's always wanted to make, his
Yeah.
biggest album, also not on a major label. Even though he's distributed by UMG, I think. I'm not sure. I think we
No,
need to cross check that.
he's with Interscope, I think.
Yeah, but Interscope is
Yeah,
UMG,
Interscope is
right?
UMG, but yeah,
Exactly.
Interscope.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a subsidiary. I guess that's what I meant. Um, and but even him with Interscope, right? He is independent,
Yeah.
to an extent. I mean he's got a distribution partnership with them, which just basically means he gets all of the mechanisms. The splits are different. The staffing is slightly different. It's got hints of a major recording contract, but um, the benefits
Mhm.
of being independent. But of course, not everybody can do that. He's able to do that because of his
Yes.
status, his stature, his longevity in the game, his fan base. He's a proven model, you know. Um, and for him to be at this height,
Mhm.
in hip hop music, he's considered one of the top three rappers in the game as far as this current crop, and he is an elder statement of the current crop, yeah, because
Mhm.
there are generations. Um, so somebody of his magnitude, when we talk top three, you're talking Kendrick, Cole, Drake, right? This is the current top three, and there's a new, arguably there's a new top three that will be ushered in by the next generation. So he's at the top of the mountain, at the top of the pile, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And for him to be able to be independent at this point in his career and still have the fan base that he has and have the deal structure that he has, yeah, it's significant. And then take all of that and take it to Even. So Even have managed to essentially work
Kudos.
on
I
several
mean,
projects.
yeah. I mean, even has done wonderfully in terms of partnerships and sales, like hands down. What they cracked early on was get good sales, get in good artists onboarded initially, and
Yeah,
also great partnerships right from the get go. You go from United Masters, all the
yeah.
labels. So currently, as far as the numbers are concerned, these guys, let me just see over here. Uh, they are with. Let me just check. I'll hire. Yeah. So they have partnerships and distribution signups with across 3,000 labels and distributors in over 110 countries.
Wow, wow. That's amazing. They've done a great job on the partnership
And
side.
since and they founded in 2022, they took 2 years in development. They launched in April 2024.
I
And
remember when they launched.
yeah,
I remember distinctively when they launched.
and
Yeah,
since then they have onboarded 500,000 artists.
yeah,
And I think they are right now maybe the only uh, direct to fan platform that's reporting album sales to Illuminate for Billboard charts eligibility. I
right.
think.
Okay, okay. Does Bandcamp not do that?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
I have
Right
no
now,
idea.
I mean,
I'm just curious.
I've seen a few sources where they mention that Even is the only person who does it. Um so I'm not sure if Bandcamp does it. And Bandcamp has been around for a whole long while, but they still didn't make
Donkey's
as much.
years.
Yeah, but they still haven't made as much noise as Even is doing right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Bandcamp are the pioneers in this, right? Bandcamp
Yeah.
kind of showed us how to do it. Um, and your Bandcamp have gone through some trials and tribulations. Getting acquired by Epic Games. Was it Epic Games?
I think
Um, they got acquired by Epic Games. Please cross check that and make sure I'm not bullshitting. But they got acquired, and the
yes.
sentiment at the time, yeah,
Correct.
right?
March
Uh,
2022.
exactly. The
No,
sentiment at
and wait. And then in September
oh,
2023, Epic Games sold Bandcamp to music licensing platform SongTrader.
exactly. That's what I was trying to get at. That's why I said trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
So the Epic Games acquired them, yeah, and there was a lot of like, I guess, or at least for me, I was like, okay, that makes so much sense, right?
Yeah.
Acquisition by Epic Games. This gives them access to a whole new ecosystem of consumers. Because what is Epic Games? Epic Games are a gaming company, duh. But what does Epic Games have that's magic? Is
We
that
actually did a whole video and boss about this, if you remember.
did we? Oh
We
yeah,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Check
Actually,
the
you're right.
archives. It's under there.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Um,
had written the script for it, that's why I remember.
Okay, okay, great. So yeah, so you know what I'm saying, right? Is that the ecosystem of gamers is completely different. The way
Yeah.
the way they gamify products, experiences, pardon the pun, but also the way they engage with music is completely different.
Yeah.
More engagement, more consistent, drives up revenue. So that was the thinking at the time when Bandcamp got acquired. It was like, okay, they get access to this ecosystem. Their base is going to get a different kind of support, but evidently nothing happened. And then, like you said, Song Trader slash Massive Music acquired them. So they've gone through these trials and tribulations. So let's see what's going to happen. But yeah, I guess what we were talking about was that Bandcamp pioneered this. So before we get back to Even, between Bandcamp and Even, who else has done this at this scale?
At this scale, we hope to. Um,
Okay, you plug there, right? Okay, you're gonna have to split the revenue on that plug, huh? Um, if you get a spike in subscriptions, please let me know to the dollar amount, to the centimile amount, so
Oh,
we can like
dude, this
do like
news
an
popped up.
equals.
This news,
Po-
this news popped up. I shared it with my team yesterday, and all of these guys were so they were very two-minded about it. A, they were incredibly negative. Hey, these guys beat us to the race and whatever. I was like, okay, but I saw it as a very positive thing. Even is not going to remain the only player in the game, obviously. But what Even has done over here has
yes,
clearly
absolutely.
validated this as a model. And even without UMG, they have case studies where it has worked, right? It's not like
Yes,
UMG, they were not doing stuff without UMG. Without UMG, they were popping off the market. They were getting good sales. They were getting great revenue. Let me see the revenue figures over here. Let me just
so while
see.
you're looking at the revenue, I'll take that opportunity as well to say I also sit on an advisory board of a company called MyPie, also
Mhm.
kind of in the space as well. And I'm
Yeah,
glad that you said that. I'm glad that you said talked about your team and your reactions, because this is validating the space. You're absolutely right. They're not the only player in the game. There's way too much opportunity to go around for
yeah,
multiple providers. And we're going to get to the UMG deal in a second, but it's like a bunch of these deals can be made. And this
yeah.
just changes the game. But please, Ashish, just continue with your You about to talk about some numbers?
I'm trying to find it. I had a number over here somewhere.
Okay.
Uh,
While you're finding that, hey guys, by the way, my name is Yao, Yaugenheim on Instagram. I'm also the host of Mother Fracas podcast. Here's the link as well. We will randomly introduce ourselves along the way. That's Ashish, looking for numbers. Ashish is founder at SoundSpire. The next direct to fan platform. They're gonna absolutely smash it. You're gonna find your uncle, granny, your people, just like supporting their favorite artists in different shapes and ways and forms.
yeah. Okay, so I don't have a direct revenue source saying how much they have technically earned, but I can tell that as of 2026, they have raised a total of $12.3 million.
12 for 3
And
mil.
and on all sales, they are taking a commission of 20%.
Oh wow, twenty
Yeah.
percent on all sales.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what they are doing. And um yeah, so like I was saying, yeah, even before UMG's partnership was announced, these guys were going off the block. They had
Yeah.
La Russell. We didn't even talk about La Russell over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
We didn't talk about La Russell actually. That's a whole. Do you want to go? You want to do it?
yeah, for sure. I mean, La Russell's work with EVEN.biz has been monumental, right? I think you might want to give more information on it, but I have one specific thing wherein the guy made $350,000 in 30 days by selling his album only on Even.
350,000 in 30 days. Really? I
In
didn't
30
know
days.
that. Damn. Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And
That's
that was
nuts.
two
But
weeks ago.
yeah.
That was 2
Okay.
weeks ago. So I don't know
That
where
was
the
two
number
weeks.
stands right now.
Really? Wasn't that the target? Because I believe I know like within the last 30 days he
Hmm.
set a sales target to hit a certain amount and he announced it. I don't remember what that sales target was. And then he didn't hit that target. He hit a significant amount, but he didn't hit that target. And then
Okay.
not did you
Yeah.
find some
Sure.
information? Okay.
So
And then
yeah.
not long after that, he announced that he had signed with Rock Nation, and we can get back to that. But what's the data?
Yes, so the data says that his target was to reach at least 100,000 records in 30 days. 100,000 records
Okay,
sold. So it wasn't price point. So another thing that people need to understand about Even over here is Even, obviously artists can set their own price, but Even also has an option of a pay what you want model, wherein artists
yes,
can tell the fans that pay whatever you want. I think there's a minimum of $1 or $2. They can set a minimum, so I'm not sure what minimum Laras will put in over there, but they can pay whatever they want, and you can. So there have been sales wherein this guy has sold that album for $10,000, $20,000. I think Kyrie Irving was one of the guys who bought
yeah.
it for
Kyrie bought one album. Yeah, exactly for like
yeah,
how
yeah,
much was it?
10K, I think.
Yeah, and just while we're on that topic, right? Um, that was also Nipsey Hussle's model. If you remember, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
butcher this. I don't remember. I don't know if it was the Crenshaw album,
Mm-hmm.
but it was one of his albums where I believe he only made. Oof, I don't have the stats, but it's easily Googleable. Do you know, like who says it? Like Google's your friend, Google. How many? So I think he made like either was something like 1,000 or 10,000 available, or maybe 10,000 CDs available, and this was just before he got his big deal, and I believe he was selling them for $1,000 a pop. It
Yeah,
was just I think it was called Proud to Pay, the Proud to Pay campaign by Nipsey Hussle.
yeah,
Nipsey really,
right.
really pioneered a lot of this stuff, I definitely was very much inspired by what Nipsey Hussle was doing in music, and it actually, inspired me in music tech in thinking about different models of artist ownership, music ownership, because the stuff that he was doing early days just made
Yeah,
sense, and it was like, why wouldn't you turn this into a product or an experience that the rest of the creative community could actually utilize. He should be like honestly studied and go back and look at some of the campaigns and the strategies they were using and implement that into product development. Anyway, but what I was trying to say was that Nipsey Hussle did have the Proud to Pay campaign where he made, I think it was 10,000 CDs available, and you could pay like up to like, well, you could pay $1,000 a CD, and it went really well. Let me just actually check it.
Yeah, so it was the Proud to Pay campaign, you are right. He focused on high value, selling it to dedicated fans specifically. So there was the Crenshaw mixtape in 2013, which initially went for free online, but he simultaneously offering 1,000 physical copies for $100 each. And he sold out all of them within 24 hours. And so within 24 hours, he got $100,000. Then in 2015, again, you were right on the money, the Mailbox Money mixtape. He escalated this model by selling 100 copies for $1,000 each.
There we go. Nipsey. Rest in peace. The guy was like genius in a sense. Yeah. So there's obviously remnants, is that a word? I always screw up words. Remnants of what Even do in their business model and platform, which is great, kind of emulating elements of what Nipsey was doing.
I think it's great that you're saying that, because I don't think any idea is, as far as music tech or music is concerned, is as original. Like probably someone has already tried it in the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s. I think the problem always was success rate. I mean, at the time, maybe Nipsey was the only kind of artist who was able to pull this off.
Yeah.
Right?
True, right? Timing.
Exactly.
Everything has its time. That's so true, right? Because who knows, in the 70s, it could have just been some guy who was like high out of his mind. Is like, nah, I'm selling this for 1,000.
Yes, that's my point. So I think what even really cracked over here was timing. I mean, at the right time, and also going incredibly hard, like I said initially, on partnerships and sales and onboarding, wherein they had to convince all of these guys, hey, you know what, this is the future and this will work. Maybe that's why probably Bandcamp didn't work as well, because they were way too early into the game, right? And
sorry, go on.
I think maybe direct to fan had maybe on the timeline, direct to fan becomes a consequence that comes after streaming.
Yes.
Maybe that's,
you know what?
Maybe
you've landed on something very serious there, and it's something that you and I talked a lot about in Boss, right? In the past, when we were trying to build our platform. It's organization. And I'm listening to you talk, and I'm realizing it's all about organization, because I feel like, while Bandcamp was awesome and still is organization lacking. If you look at like the evolution of digital distributors, there's organization lacking. And what I mean by that is they provide distribution services, right? And they say that, hey, come and sign up with us and you can get label services, marketing, promo, PR, blah, blah, blah. But we all know that not everybody's privy to those services. It's really only the cream at the top, meaning the top performing clients would get approached by their teams. But then the people in the long tail of artist timeline, long tail meaning like the guys who are not even breaking even, who are just like, anyway.
Yeah, 1,000 streams, sub 1,000.
Yes, exactly. They're not receiving any kind of support or visibility. It's only the guys at the top. So it's still kind of modeling. They're not receiving any support. But then as the distributors evolved as platforms, they started trying to figure out how can they do services better, how can they do label support better. Some of them started morphing into labels and offering services. Some of them got acquired by labels. AWOL, artists without a label, became artists with a label. What I'm saying? They got acquired by Sony.
Believe acquired TuneCore.
Oh yeah, there you go. TuneCore, like the biggest example, right? TuneCore and AWOL. And then also labels started, with these acquisitions, started trying to get into the knocking mics and stuff, started trying to get into the distribution space, and they started like blending and like not being able to tell who's who. But what was clear is that they were trying to figure out these mass amount of users slash artists. How do we not just productize this and just generate revenue off this, but what they were missing, in my opinion, is proper support. And to me,
Yeah.
something like Even is essentially the child of all of this mess. A lot of the music tech companies today, as far as like, stuff that's not like made for music production or analytics or whatnot, right? Not back end services, but a lot of the music tech products today that are either marketing related, distributed related, sales related, right? Sorry, just got a call coming that I need to cancel. A lot of these are the children of what's happening in distribution and label, and I think
Yeah.
Even is a great example of that. And when you started talking about partnerships, they've done a great job of partnerships. It's not just they're partnering with loads of labels, they're partnering with distributors, they're partnering with brands. They're doing that really good job of partnerships, and that means support. Even if they're not directly touching all of their clients and all of their users, it's all of these partnerships that are coming in and being handy and being useful that almost feel like support. So now
Yeah.
what's happening is the artists who use the platform are almost feeling like they're on a label. They're almost getting that kind of hands-on guidance that they would get with a traditional label, but a whole different model. And I think it's just the evolution of these spaces becoming new industries. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
And,
For
and
sure.
and just honorary mention is like United Masters. I also feel pioneered part of this because yes, United Masters are a distributor, but to be honest, United Masters partnership strategy has been epic. You know,
Yeah.
you just look at go on the app, go look at the platform, look at all of the partnerships they've acquired. That was like is a music distributor on steroids. United Master is a music distributor on steroids. The way they've brought in partnerships with NFL, NBA, maybe not, with obviously being founded by Steve Stout, his
Yeah.
advertising agency are privy to a lot of brand partnerships and visibility deals. And I do think like Even is on the tail end of that, like, almost like where United Masters ends as a distributor, Even almost continues in a sense. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
random brainwave.
No, no, no. On point. On point. I support each and every. I second each and every point that you made over there. I mean,
So
yeah.
you were saying,
Yeah,
um,
saying that these guys have done something really, really well, which as a model is what other music tech startups should look at. Uh, Many of these music tech startups, they go very, very deep into the technicalities of it, or very deep into the design of it, and they very deep into the function of it, but they forget that that function in a standalone cannot work without everything around it, right? They feel that, if I do this in the music industry, then the music industry gets fixed. That's not the way it works. You are still living in that bigger ecosystem of the music business, and you need to be able to adapt, you need to be able to work around all of these things, you need to be able to work with them at the same time. uh, all of them see themselves as standalones, and I don't think that's the way to go. And even.biz showed that they are not a standalone platform. They are a platform that's working with all the other platforms, with all other distributors, with all other labels, with all the artists, with all of the fans. They're working within the ecosystem, and that's how you thrive as a music tech company. I think, again, United Masters too. When you say United Masters, these guys too, I feel, follow the same strategy, right? They never call themselves as a standalone in the music industry that we are going to take it up or we are going to take off. We are the only people who can fix this. No, that's not the way it works. You have so many different aspects in music, so many different people doing different things, and if you aren't working with them, there's no way you're going to go off. At least that's what I feel.
yeah, absolutely. These guys have kind of consolidated the market. They fit from all angles, which is great. Yeah. So before we get into the details of the deal, I was talking about J. Cole earlier on, and big news. His maybe final album was released initially, at least via Even, and the fall off. number one in Billboard, right? Number one in Billboard. That was like Even's first release to get a
Mhm.
number one
What?
Billboard.
Yeah.
So that's epic. Like you think about it, like you said, 2022 these guys started, um, and now,
Okay. Another point over there. Yeah? These guys started 2022 and launched in April 2024. That's
jeez, 2 years
2 years.
ago.
2 years of development, 2 years of getting that initial traction. Uh, I don't know what they were doing for the 2 years. I honestly don't know. Maybe we can get Mag later on to the
Yeah,
podcast. Just ask him, hey, what were you doing for 2 years?
yeah,
But the foundation that he laid in those 2 years, incredibly careful, incredibly strategized the way that they want to get into the market,
yeah.
and worked for them. 2 years, man, 2 years in
2
development.
years. Yeah, yeah,
And for
yeah.
me, on the other side, it's been what? It's been 6, 7 months for me in development, and the community platform goes live in the next 1 or 2 months.
Amazing. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. SoundSpire is going to be the next one.
Yeah,
It's all good. I love it. Absolutely love it. So, let's get into it.
yeah. What
Number
is
one
the
in
deal
Billboard.
exactly?
I know I keep talking about J. Cole because I'm just trying to make that point land. Like you said, 2 years in development, 2 years go to market, tearing shit up. La Russell, a bunch of different artists we're not naming, which we should. Did Doechii do anything there? I have a feeling like Doechii did something there, but it doesn't matter. Oh, well, it does matter, but they've got a bunch of significant releases, and then the fall off happens, and the whole campaign was crazy. The rollout was crazy. The rollout is still crazy. J. Cole is going from city to city in like in a Ford Escort, like a beat up old Ford Escort, like mirroring, I guess, like his youthful days of when he had to sell CDs out of the car, you know.
Hmm.
And so it's just got this whole campaign around it, and it's number one. I know I'm repeating myself, but let that sink in. While all of this is happening, he's selling CDs. He's on top of the billboards. These guys are sitting at a table, and they're negotiating with we don't know who, but they're saying, "Watch what this is going to do. Look at the numbers, right? Trust us." Yeah? We want access. They're there, they're negotiating. Something is happening. Boom, it goes number one. How long after do we hear that United Universal Music Group? Well, we heard it yesterday, and I think the number one maybe was announced. I don't know, don't quote me, but about a week ago. So a week later, they announced, all right, UMG, Universal Music Group, even partnership. We have access.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like, how do you
Yeah.
contain that kind of energy?
I mean, um, so UMG in its 2026 memo, uh, their UMG CEO, the group CEO, Sir Lucian Grange, yeah, in his
Yep.
2026 annual memo, he named Superfan monetization as top priority.
Yes. Oof.
And following that were a series of Superfan bets, including a stake in Complex, Weavers they already were in,
Yeah.
even Station Head,
Oh,
everything.
they got a stake. They announced a stake in even back then.
No, no. So this is a week after this, yeah. So I think two,
Oh,
three
wow.
weeks. I think it was only 2, 3 weeks back wherein uh, Solution Grange's memo went public,
Oh,
where he was
wow. I didn't even read that. He didn't send it to me. Lucian, can you send it to me next time, please? I met Lucian before. By the way, Lucian handed me an award
yeah.
2016. Yeah, music tech app, most innovative music tech app. That was
Wow,
2016. Shook
wow.
hands. I looked him dead in the eye and I said, "Are you sure?" He says, "I'm sure, y'all." I said, "All right, cool, got you." We haven't spoken since, but I'm not even lying. This is not bullshit. Like, it's Googleable. Anyway, move on. So I did not
Anyway,
see that memo.
yeah, but like I said, he named Superfan monetization as a top priority, and then following that is all of these acquisitions and deals and partnerships that these guys are doing.
Wow, they've been busy, huh? UMG's been busy.
They have been busy for sure, for
I
sure.
wonder what's happening there. Like, there's something as far as strategy. Well, I think you've just said it, right? As far as them naming the strategy and kind of being clear about what they're going after and what they're doing, but
Yeah.
internally, what does it look like? Who have they put it in place? Who's driving this energy? Because it's just a backlog of deals that are being released now and commitments that are being met, which is important, right?
Yeah.
They're cutting checks, they're making moves, they're yeah, it's impressive because I think credit where credit is due. We used to call them sluggish. We used to call all of these guys sluggish.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
They're
cannot
catching
call
up.
UMG sluggish at the moment.
They're catching up.
At least,
They,
yeah,
you reached it. They have, I think we discussed this in the previous episode as well, and the tail
yeah.
end, wherein they have now a specific department called as digital or digital innovation. I'm
Innovation.
not sure what
Yeah,
it's called.
UMGDI,
Yeah,
Universal Music Group,
yeah,
Digital
yeah.
Innovation.
Specifically just for this, and one of the guys who was leading the deal from UMG side was the executive vice president of chief and is the chief digital officer at Universal Music. That's Michael Nash from
Michael
UMG.
Nash. Oh, okay. Okay. I have never met Michael, and his name has
Yeah.
come up. Michael Nash. Hello, Michael. You're
Yeah.
more than welcome to come and tell us more if you want to, yeah.
Point being, yeah, UMG has been busy and they have opened their eyes up. They have seen that it is the inevitable conclusion, and they have two options. Either they take a back seat and see everyone go ahead, or else they they are probably not on the driver's seat, but they can at least be on the passenger seat of all the other cars that are driving on that highway, right?
I like that. You know what? Like as soon as you said that, the image I got in my head was like Agent Smith. You know Agent Smith?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like almost like replicated. I'm looking on like one of those huge highways, and there's all of these cars, and there's like an Agent Smith in each passenger seat.
That's essentially what UMG is doing, yeah. Uh, but yeah, great stuff from UMG. I would like to see what WMG's and Sony's response is to this, though.
Oh, yeah.
That would be
Gonna have to
exciting.
do or say something,
That
to
would be
be fair.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Warner, Sony, if you guys want someone else, I'm here. I'm here for you guys. We'll
Oh
take over.
man. Yeah, yeah. But you see, this speaks to that, right? Is this opens those kind of opportunities. Sure, UMG may do a couple more of these deals, or maybe this is it, right? At least for now. But then for sure, the other two majors, Sony and WMG, gonna have to do some of these deals as well. It's like
Yeah.
their hand is now forced. You cannot not do anything because this is now going to speak to market share. Speaking of market share, let's talk about the actual deal. We're half an hour in and we
Yeah,
still
yeah.
haven't talked about
Okay.
the deal.
So I'll break the deal into four major points. So Universal
Awesome.
has entered into a multi-year agreement. They haven't specified how many years, but it's a multi-year agreement
Okay.
uh, with EVEN.biz. Under the deal, Even becomes a turnkey solution. They have underlined turnkey in each of their press releases. I'm not sure why,
What do you
but
mean by
Even
turnkey solution? You got
very
to pay attention to these words.
very
What do you
important.
mean by
So
turnkey
turnkey
in
essentially
this
means that
context?
they're unlocking something for UMG, right?
Mm,
They're unlocking something for UMG. So even becomes a turnkey solution for UMG artists to engage superfans with direct access to music, early drops, exclusives, community features, and commerce. UMG artists can sell physical merch, music, and digital experiences through Even's existing infrastructure. Even's platform will report direct sales that count towards official charts like Billboard, and the deal is part of UMG's broader strategy to expand direct to fan capabilities beyond streaming and traditional DSPs.
oh, this is crazy.
Um,
It's nuts.
UMG
You,
has chosen to align with a superfan focused platform to strengthen its D2C capabilities rather than building its own from scratch. Another key statement over here, that they have chosen to align with other platforms rather than building it on their own from scratch.
pause, please. Wait. Pause is in wait, not in the other. Look, that speaks so much volume. So turnkey solution already, they are glazing. That that language is like, you know, I would be blushing if I was even. I'd be like, oh, stop, please, no, you know,
Also,
because already
and this is the press release on UMG's website, not Even's website.
that
This is
no, but
UMG's.
that's my point. That's why I'm saying they are glazing. I'm talking about UMG in a most positive light. I'm not
Yeah,
hating, right? Like if I'm even, I'm flattered as hell. You
for sure.
understand what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, I'll stop it. Like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? So just even the language, it says that we're in your corner until we're not.
yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying? You guys are turnkey, but also just what you're reading reminds me of when Lucian has spoken out recently about not being happy with the economics of streaming, right?
hmm,
And he said it in a way where you think, oh yeah, you're just saying that, but you kind of believe what he's saying because now it's like, okay, we're going to bring other people into the picture to combat some of this inefficiencies that's happening with the economics of streaming. And this is kind of proof in the pudding. He complained before, or not complained before. He expressed his
yeah,
slight distaste. Yeah, not in those words, so I'm not directly quoting.
hmm,
And in expressing that, if you're a skeptic like me, you think, okay, so what are you going to do about it? You run the show. What are you going to do about it? This is what they're going to do about it, or this is proof of partially. And now, are they taking food off the plate of streaming services? Arguably, you could say they're not because this
not
is sold
necessarily.
as.
Not
Hold
necessarily.
on. Arguably, you could say that they're not because of the language that's used, which is this runs alongside and it's complementary. Okay, okay, okay. But let's paint a picture. Create a product roadmap and think long term. Let's not think momentarily only. And what happens when you get the biggest support of the biggest player in the world and they say, all right, we're going to create a completely other revenue stream. Come in. You get access to all of this. Let's go. And if that business relationship works well, fast forward 12 months, fast forward 6 years, fast forward 10 years, what does that look like? Earning
Hmm.
potential is better within this new revenue stream. So there's loads of news reports everywhere about how streaming hit its peak. Spotify just released their figures, their numbers, and they're great. They're talking about they're mending the problem of the dip in revenues. And I think this part I don't know. I think that is due to growth in emerging economies. I don't know. I need to study that part just a little bit more. But still, Spotify. Whenever I say Spotify, I just generally mean streamers, right? Streaming
Yeah,
services, platforms. They're trying to fix it because they need to fix it because there's a lot of word about has streaming reached its peak. Is there some kind of dip happening? And then we start bringing in other forms of revenues earning. Now, if these forms work well, then yes, in my opinion, it's taking food off the plate of streaming in a sense. Because it's not about overnight. I think long term, if this works out, we just might revert to what it used to be, which is paying quite a bit for the music we love. We used to
yeah.
buy CDs, bunch of vinyls. Even vinyls are back up again. What's this company? Are they called Wax Technologies? What are they called? They're
Uh,
like a collectibles. They're a music collectibles company,
wow.
and just Google Wax Technologies. They just raised 1 million the other week. They announced it last week, and it's like these little signs of platforms that are supporting music more as as we used to support it as something you value, not as something that's passive.
Yeah. Also,
Is it
over there, I'll shout out another company over here that's called Elastic Stage. Um, they are doing great in the vinyl space. They are essentially the world's first print-on-demand vinyl platform.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so if you guys like all the guys who are listening on here, if you guys want to check them out, you can. They are a good platform as well. Anyway, on the
Okay, we can we
Spotify
can we can put
argument,
their link here and ask them if they want to pay like a bunch of cash for like a placement. Happy to do that. I
yeah,
love
but on the Spotify argument
it's a
though,
joke by the way.
I did have
Sorry,
a
sorry,
few
Sheesh,
points.
before you go on, I just want to I
Yeah,
messed up the name of that company, and I just want to make sure I quoted properly. They are called Wax Poetics. I said Wax Technologies.
Yeah,
So
Wax Theatrics. Okay.
so look up Wax Poetics. This is not a plug for them, but
Yeah.
they announced their fundraise recently, about a week ago, and they're a really interesting company. What they do is we connect deep storytelling with auctions of authenticated collectors' items and memorabilia direct from artists. Whatever that means, but you get it, right?
Basically collectibles, essentially.
Collectibles.
It's
So
like StockX for music collectibles.
there we go. That's why we do this, because yeah, you know what you're talking about. But back to the earlier point that I was trying to say was that we were still on the first part of the deal, and you explained it, and I was talking about the language and the terminology was great.
Yeah.
The way they're speaking about this partnership, which is awesome, right? And then I was talking about like they're looking at new models, opening up new models, and it speaks to the energy and the mindset of the support that Even is receiving.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to go back to like
Yeah, the
talking about the
streaming
deal?
part of it. I don't think it's taking food off the table from streamings yet. And why I
Yeah,
do say
not yet.
that. Maybe in the next 6 years, maybe, but there still has to be something critical that either Even does or either someone else does that does take food off of streaming. And the main reason over there is just volume and discovery,
Yeah,
right? When you're talking about fan platform, you're talking about revenue, and you are talking about already converted individuals coming onto the platform and then contributing to an artist they love. But most of the but what UMG needs to solve if they want to tackle streaming is top of the funnel, and that's discovery. Even is not replacing discovery. Even or any superfan platform, even Weavers, us, anyone else, we consider ourselves at the bottom of the funnel. We are the guys who bring in all the converted fans and give them a space to live. Right? Streaming essentially aims for discovery more. It's more
yeah,
discovery through playlists, through the algorithms, everything. It's more discovery, it is more top of the funnel. So, what UMG needs to do if they want to tackle streaming in a sense is crack discovery and top of the funnel.
yeah. I 100% agree with that. And and I also, just to clarify, I wasn't saying like, oh my God, streaming is done because of this deal. It's
Yeah.
more talking long term, depending how
Yeah.
this goes. And there are actually a few variables, because even could just get acquired by on a streaming service. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe,
Like
maybe,
that could easily happen.
maybe, maybe.
Or
So,
even could get like a could do it. I don't know what round they're on. I don't know if they're on Series A or
let
B
me
or what.
here.
Maybe I would guess their next might be. In fact, they're probably about to do a crazy fundraise. If they've just signed with UMG, watch. They're about to do it. Yeah, that's my prediction. If they haven't already started.
They'll go for fundraise. Okay, their last was a Series A in October 29, 2025. So quite recent.
2025. Okay.
Quite
And
recent.
how much was it?
Let me just see over here. Company has the total is 12.3 in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Let me
So if they
math.
did a Series A
I have to see.
last year and they've done a total of 12.3, my guess is that Series A was in the region of 9 million.
Yeah, somewhere between 7 to 9, I'm guessing.
Okay, great.
I think I'm not sure if they did a pre-seed as such. I think they did 2 seed rounds, maybe.
No, but that's cool. That's cool. So they've just done a Series A last year, yeah, within the last 6 months. I think they're about to announce another round, and I think it's going to be significant. Like who wouldn't invest in them right now if they've signed with UMG? That's like every investor's, at least every.
Not
every
dream. That's like writing it off as, hey, this is gonna succeed.
Exactly. It's what's the call? What's the word? There's every investor. There's a word I'm looking for, but it's like it's
Credibility?
validating. Like
Oh, right.
in regards to music business, this is where the smart money comes. Because when you understand the music business as an investor, the main hurdles you're looking for is like obviously stickiness of your product, but like where's your moat? Like have you got a fucking strong moat? And more importantly, have you won the labels on like other labels playing ball? They've got
Yeah.
the biggest label to play ball and to like vouch for them. Doesn't get any bigger than that in terms of vouching. So that's like a signed check already. So I expect, I think that between October and now and their last fan race, these guys went bloody hard. For them to be able to execute this J. Cole partnership, they went hard. So
One thing that I do feel,
fundraise coming soon.
yeah, in terms of
And sorry,
fundraise,
sorry, sorry.
okay,
Actually, sorry, I gotta cut you off.
the
Gotta cut you
Series
off.
A
Gotta cut
was
you off.
10 million, by the way.
Can I cut you off? Can I cut you off? Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
The reason I was talking about that fundraise, I just wanted to land my point, was that the last thing I said was that they get acquired by a streaming service. There's not a wild world. It's not too wild for them to acquire a streaming service, but that would have to come with a crazy Series B. I wouldn't
Uh,
put that off the table.
okay, so the problem over here that I would see if they want to acquire another streaming service is how are they justifying revenue? And how are they justifying being able to topple Spotify's growing market share day by day, day by day, day by day? Right now, Spotify controls 30%. 30%. That's one platform doing 30%. Can you imagine?
Man,
They're- They are approximately 31.7% of the total subscriber market share. Like, if there is a graph, it's green. It's
do you know
green.
how? Do you know how? Do
Well,
you know how?
yeah, tell me.
You said it at the beginning of this conversation. Do you know how?
How?
By getting even. It's all in the branding. It's all in the mindset. I know I sound all philosophical at the moment, but this shit
Yeah.
is philosophy. Like, it's branding, it's manipulation, it's mindset. And I think they're on the trajectory of the right kind of messaging. Like, imagine like a new emergent music industry where we've all been complaining about pay artists properly, blah 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 blah, and then out of the ashes comes these guys, and it's like, get even. We're here to save the day. Let's get what's ours. And slowly by slowly, we start to acquire space and real estate. We're getting even. That's how. Don't tell me how it's supposed to be executed. Just telling you about the branding side of it. And if you can like
Yeah.
do a deep dive into the back end of what that looks like, there is
Yeah.
a world where kingdoms get toppled, empires fold.
That's for sure.
And I
Yeah.
think I know it sounds like, again, it's overly philosophical, but in this era, I think that does count and that does matter. If they have the right backing, the right infrastructure, I think they can get a nice chunk of
I
the
think
market.
I think from
As
an investor, yeah, go on. I think from
sorry,
an
I was just
invest,
going to say. Okay, yeah, continue. Yeah.
yeah, I was saying from an investment point of view, if there is an investor going to put heavy money into it right now, I'm not sure of the revenue model that Even is having right now, which is the 20% um, royalty share that they get. So I don't know how much revenue they're getting from that. Are they breaking even? Are they at the break even stage? Definitely not. But what's the timeline looking like? And then if they are getting enough money to acquire another streaming service, that's going to burn a whole lot of cash. Rebranding that is going to burn a whole lot of cash. Marketing it and getting it up to the level of, say, at least top 5 streaming platforms in the world is going to burn a lot of cash, right?
When did Spotify break even?
Last year. Last year was their first. Last year was their first year that they reported annual profits.
Do you know when I started using Spotify? 2006, I think. It's 20 years ago. They just broke even. Broke
Exactly.
even.
Exactly.
Get even. Get
Exactly.
even started 2 years ago. So listen, yo, they should call the campaign break even. No, that doesn't have a
Get-
ring. Okay, you don't even know what I'm thinking. Okay. So on your point, right? Spotify, 20 years to break even. The point that I'm trying to make here, right? We're in tech, and a lot of these platforms do not break even for a hell of a long time.
Yeah.
Additionally, when we talk about, so you, okay, can you just repeat? You were saying something about the revenue model and the
Yeah,
20%.
so
What was your point around that?
okay, so my point was how much money they are going to raise. So
Mm-hmm.
because if they are raising money, if we are looking at it from two different perspectives. They are going to expand even like hell, right?
Yeah.
Um, well and good. I think that's I personally think that's the way to go. But if you go the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
route,
Agreed.
wherein you are raising a ton of money and then going to acquire a streaming platform, I don't think that's quite viable yet because of the
Yeah.
cash burn that would come, and also the additional strain on their existing brand that is Even, which does require more cash for it to go.
Yeah. So I completely agree with you. I think the strategy would be to work with UMG in a very significant way, meaning that, all right, guys, bunch of 2026 releases and 2027 for the foreseeable future are going to get a nice push from Even, or whatever, not push,
I have
whatever
another
is
question
gonna.
here. I have another
Yeah, go
question
on.
here for you. UMG did partner up with Even. Why did
Yes,
UMG not invest in Even?
that's a great question.
UMG
I don't
invested
know.
in Weavers. UMG invested in Stationhead. Why not an investment into Even, and why a partnership with Even?
Well, maybe
Did
you
Even
could
was
ask.
Even not looking for it, or did
Hold
Even
on.
say no?
You see, that's what I was trying to say. Maybe the question you wanted to ask was that why didn't Even accept UMG's
Yeah, exactly.
investment? So, like, they're on fire. Like, arguably, they didn't need UMG. They could have continued to do what they were doing at the rate that they were doing it.
Yeah.
But obviously, the UMG partnerships takes them to another stratosphere. Um, and why not? Even if they're doing the deal with J. Cole again, they know that there's a strategic partnership within J. Cole's camp, which is the distribution um, from Interscope, right? So they're
Yeah.
sitting at the
Yeah.
table with them anyway, and I'm sure they're. So it probably became like, all right, let's do this. But they don't need the UMG investment right now, and that upcoming round. Let's see. They
Hmm.
haven't announced it, but I'm predicting it right now. There's an upcoming round, and UMG may have a significant stake in it. UMG have seen the data, they've seen the
They
numbers.
they just raised in November 2025. I don't think it's
Doesn't
coming so
matter.
early. I don't think
It's
it's coming so
hey,
early.
this guy. It doesn't matter. They've just, like I keep saying, they've just signed with UMG. You know how many odds is how much money that is? They need more money to make more money. That's how it is. What do you mean? Doesn't matter if they got like 9 milli just now. They need like 90 milli now. It's- they need more money to make more money. I think it's as simple
But
as
hey,
that.
but what I think, if the partnership was announced yesterday, it was definitely in talks 3 months back.
Yeah,
Definitely, right?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
do think that when they raised that Series A, they already had a timeline in mind and the amount of cash burn and runway that they'd need with this partnership in mind. I don't think it. I think they already have a plan in mind. I don't think they'll go for a fundraise so early because it's not as if they just announced. They just came to know of the partnership. They knew it for quite a while. They knew it was going to happen. They didn't know what form it was going to take. Probably 3 months negotiating as to uh, what it looks like. Maybe they even maybe UMG even approached them before they raised the Series A to invest into them. They probably said no, or it can also be the other way around, wherein they went to UMG and said, "Hey, we are raising a Series A. Would you like to come in?" And UMG said no and said, for a trial period, let's do a partnership. That could be
yeah.
another possibility.
Another possibility is that UMG could be already be on the cap table. We don't know. And also another possibility could be because I've done deals with UMG before, and I'm not saying ours did, but sometimes the deals mean that you give us some equity away. There are several line items, performance based. And depending on how much leverage you have, they will require to take a nice little equity stake. I mean, you just have to look at some of the guys who came before, right? Look at Spotify. You
Spotify.
know, Spotify's early deals had all three majors
Yeah.
taking chunks of equity.
Yeah.
So we don't know. They could already be sitting pretty on the cap table.
Fair deal. Fair deal. Fair deal.
Here we are just speculating, but we are intelligent speculators.
For
You know,
sure.
what's the word? Eloquent bullshitters. So it's all good. We know what we're talking about for the most part.
Yeah.
Um, so, and to your earlier point, I completely agree. I think that they definitely need to or will go on a go on a go on with business as usual, doing what they need to do with this new partnership and proving the model even further. And then after they prove the model further with a few more UMG artists and outside the UMG stables, then I think those acquisition thoughts start to happen. Because I don't think them acquiring other platforms is a mad idea. It could be distributors. It could be streaming services. You
Maybe.
know, as far
Maybe.
as their
Yeah.
I don't think that's far off because the point that I was actually trying to make was that music seems to be going back to what it used to be. Or okay, it's not going back to what it used to be, but we are looking at alternative models, and alternative models are really based on music should be should be valued more.
Yeah.
Collectibles, vinyls. Can I pay for the music that I like and I love? And there's a lot of noise around me, and I don't really want to hear all of this. For me, what that just sounds like is just give me what I want. I want to go to the record store and buy these, and I want to have something to look at and feel and actually attach myself to. So what if that little microcosm of a world can grow and become quite a stable world? That means we're kind of going back to what it used to be. Now, in order to do that, they kind of need more numbers. And I think more of those numbers, an easy place maybe to do that is to convert, like you said, a lot of those passive listeners or a lot of those people on a discovery trail who don't know what they want. And that really comes with streaming. That's just one of my theories. I'm not saying they're going to have to go acquire Spotify. No, they're going to have to go and look at another player in which gives them that kind of access.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair deal.
Anyway,
Fair deal. Fair deal.
speculation. Okay, back to the even deal, which we keep running away from. Um, you had like a 4-part breakdown. I think you were still on part one.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't remember the 4-part breakdown now.
Oh man, I thought you wrote it down because you said it like all confidently. Yeah, I got a 4-part breakdown. Boom. I was like, all right, let's go.
I had it in my mind. But anyway, my breakdown was okay, so I gave all the points as to what they're doing, right? My
Yes.
second point was what are they actually going to do? Because we saw this before with UMG and Weavers, wherein a few UMG artists were onboarded onto Weavers. I think there was Ariana Grande, I think there was Lady Gaga, I think there was Dua as well. What I don't know is how it actually worked for them on Weavers.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it didn't work quite as well as they had hoped for it to, right? So
Yeah.
the first 4 5 months, even though they say it's a multi-year agreement, the first 4 5 months is just going to be trial and testing periods for UMG artists, and all the marketeers, and all the talent managers of these artists to be able to use evenly in a good way. And I think the onus would also fall back on Even, wherein they are after UMG's ass to get their artists to do good stuff on Even.
Yeah. So execution. Yeah.
Execution is problem. So partnership in theory is incredibly good, but now how do you get these artists to actually implement all of that and be on the platform? It requires an incredible hands-on approach by Even and UMG both, and targeting these, getting these artists to do stuff exactly the way Even did it with J. Cole, exactly the way Even did it with La Russell. Now these guys have to do it with 10 20 more A-list artists that UMG has, and get them to actually execute it. So the first 4 5 months are going to be very crucial over here, and I think then we'll see a good tipping scale whether this partnership is going into a success or is going to just another namesake of a partner.
You said something very interesting there, which I didn't think of actually. Execution. Because in execution, whilst you're trying to execute, guess what's happening? Everybody's watching.
Yeah.
And then everybody's in competitors start to analyze. And then if we don't think so obvious, there's a bunch of competitors, not even in music. There's platforms, there's Instagram,
There's Discord, there's Patreon,
there's Discord.
the
Yeah,
bigger names.
exactly. Yeah, so now all of these guys are, because this is all about direct to fan, right? And so they think, hold on. All of these artists you're talking about, they have profiles on our sites already. So you're saying that we can just trigger a sale? So it actually gets quite interesting. Let's see who else is going to try something. An interesting one which was announced last week, FanView.
Yep.
So FanView, they just raised like 55 million, and they announced it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they announced a partnership with Cardi B last week.
Mm-hmm.
I texted Harry, who's I think their CTO, about it, and he hasn't replied to me since he's got his 55 million. He's done a Houdini on me. Thinks I'm asking him for money. But they announced they announced a partnership with Cardi B last week. I believe that partnership initially is to support the ticket sales of her current tour.
Yeah.
Direct to fan again. This is only it's a big deal, partnership with Cardi B, but it's a small example of the possibilities. So when you talk about execution, everybody's watching how you're going to execute, and all of the platforms who can already do this or have been doing this in some shape or way or form are now figuring out, hey, how can we tap into that? So execution is going to be really interesting.
Very interesting. So I think the way for EVEN to go is just stick to their guns. They have proved they can execute. They know how to do this shit. They just need to stick to their guns. If they don't get way in over their heads about this partnership and forget what actually got them to this point, then nothing will happen. But the minute that happens, wherein they are saying, hey, this partnership's done, we are well and good. I don't think that's going to happen. Obviously, I think Mag is not the kind of guy who will let it get to his head. I don't think the executive team is that kind of people who let it get to their head. We have people from Spotify, SoundCloud, and you mentioned StockX. All these guys, they come with tons of experience, and they know that if they stop executing, it won't take even a minute for them to fall down and someone else take their place. So I don't think it will happen, but I hope, and I also genuinely hope that it does not happen. These guys know what they're doing, just execute it to the point. The number one problem that anyone faces, especially with mass artists, is how to get those people onto the platform in the first place. What is the value addition to the fans? And that is something that UMG and the artists have to work very closely. If it's a very superficial value addition to the fan is not going to respond.
Yeah.
And another point is many fan communities have been made. The problem with fan communities is sustenance. They have to sustain. The first 6 months is like the honeymoon period. Everyone is texting on the community, everyone is sharing their stuff, and the artist is quite active. What happens when the artist takes a break? What happens if the fans are, what happens when the community starts getting boring? So these are points that these guys need to think about.
You said sustenance.
Yeah.
The last time I heard that word, I was in high school. I went to high school in Botswana in Southern Africa, and sustenance kept on popping up in our agriculture class. We had an agriculture class, and it was linked to receiving aid. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? We're like, live in a normal house in a normal neighborhood. Teaching me about receiving aid. I think they were trying to brainwash us that we need aid. Sustenance. We literally had a sector, a whole subject in sustenance. I was like, why are these guys teaching me about sustenance? Anyway, so sorry, I had a flashback when you said sustenance. I all of a sudden started thinking about aid. Anyway, yes, you're right. You are right. Execution and how are they, all of these fan community, it's going to be an art, especially scaling it like, yeah, beyond, beyond evens like normal, uh, outside of the scale they're used to operating within. Not saying they can't, but you're absolutely right. It's gonna be an art, and they execute it.
So now what
How does it? Yeah.
what UMG and talent agencies need to do over here is get in people who specialize in activating fan communities, who specialize in engaging fan communities, right? One thing that I did notice whenever you talk to any digital marketing guy, in music specifically, like for artists, any consultant or any digital marketing people, when it comes to actual engagement and actual community building, these guys lack just a step behind, probably because they haven't read up too much on it or they haven't caught up too much on it. But UMG then needs to get in, on board a few people who actually specialize in building communities, who specialize in interacting communities, who specialize in fan behavior specifically. How do
Yeah.
fans react to things? How do fans engage with things? What do they buy? What do they not buy? What do they like? What
Yeah.
do they not like? I think UMG will need to do that as well.
How will they do that?
I don't know. Probably. The thing is, they don't need to do it specifically. They already have the knowledge base. Most of the people in UMG probably have the knowledge base. It's more about activating it. And also, there are a few people out there who have built tons of communities, who have done lots of stuff. One example I can talk about uh, is, say, John Bellion, for example. Um,
Okay.
any guy who wants to check up John Bellion, they can. But prolific songwriter, producer, but he's an artist as well. He went on a break for 6 years because of a very sour record label deal, and then he came back, and now he's doing a ton of songs. But point being, he made his own community. He made his own
Yeah.
Beautiful Mind community, and it's active. It's an
Yeah.
active
That's
community
a
where
great example,
he's putting
actually.
his
Yeah.
songs out. He's actively on that community. He has 3 Instagram profiles, all 3 for different things, and all of them are active. So he has built an incredible community of people, a community
Yeah.
of people who keep interacting with John, and John on the other hand also interacts with these people through his music, through just uh, everything is done, everything is doing during COVID. He did like a 2 hour live streamed concert, and it wasn't like a programmed concert. He was taking song requests, and then the band was doing the songs on the spot, and then he was producing on the spot. So those kind of things that increases interactivity with the fans. Now that's what UMG has to do.
Yeah, that's true, right? You're absolutely right because again, now I'm thinking about it, and obviously, I think it's clear that I'm like a surface. I have surface knowledge about even, but more super in-depth knowledge about music business and music tech.
Yeah.
So hence why I can make, I guess, an educated opinion. But I use the same 2 artists all the time, La Russell and J. Cole. What if you look at their campaigns? Exactly what you've described. It's like they were deeply involved in the campaign,
Yeah.
engaging with their fans. So this can't be a copy and this can't just be a plug and play
Exactly.
scenario.
Exactly.
Artists, exactly what you just said. The artists are gonna have to like display this similar forms because then it just becomes almost like a money grab, right?
Exactly. The minute artists feel that there is no value addition, sorry, the minute fans feel that there is no value addition to the fans, they're not going to engage. Or they might engage for the first 2 months because they're excited for it, and then they'll take a
Yeah.
step. And
So this is yeah.
that's a problem that I do see with major artists. That is to get them to do it because they're already exhausted, to be honest. Let's say if an
Yeah.
artist is touring, they're on a 6 month tour, are they going to engage to that extent? One artist that I do see engaging with his community extensively is Youngblood. Do you know Youngblood?
I think I do.
You might have heard of him.
Yeah.
Great chap.
It's just there's been so many young bloods over the years, like in music.
His name is Dominic Harrison. He's from north of England.
Okay, yeah. I know you're
You might have
talking
seen
about.
him.
Okay.
Yeah, he won a Grammy this year,
Yeah,
so
yeah, of course,
congratulations
yeah.
on that. But this guy, he interacts with his fandom in ways I've not seen before. Like, he has his own festival. He has his own Youngblood festival, Bloodfest, whatever I don't know what it's called.
Ooh, I'm not
And
going to that. Bloodfest.
but it's going, and he's in a genre that people was saying that it's on the downslope of rock and roll and rock, and he's brought it back up to a certain extent. And he's a crazy performer, by the way. I was at one of his live shows when he came to Lollapalooza. Crazy
Yeah.
live show, crazy live. I mean, this guy is literally crazy.
In,
But yeah,
in
this
what
guy
way?
is just the way his presence on stage, yeah, just his presence
Yeah.
on stage. He went into the crowd and he said, you know what, I'll
Taking
just
blood.
you're taking the blood metaphor quite seriously.
Yeah, we go Bloodfest. It's like, oh my gosh, what's going on
But
here?
it's not BLOOD, it's BLUD. It's
So what?
like,
Because you spell it differently, it's not blood.
no, isn't blood like a street slang for like friend or bro in British Caribbean?
Yes, it is. It is. But when you call somebody, well, it's in many regions around the world, right? Blood can be a term of belonging, right? There's
Yeah,
bloods in the cribs, right? But specifically in England, yes, it's like, it used to be like, dude, blood is like your man's.
yeah,
However, it's still derived from the term
right. Blood.
sangre, blood, you know, which is, yeah. So it's the thing that runs through your veins. It's some suspicious people are suspicious. Wealthy people are apparently drinking and doing alternative things with. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but
it's the,
but I
the
would
sorry.
no,
Cons-
the
I just
point I
want us
was
to make this point. The consumption of blood has been controversial over our existence as a species. So when somebody has something called Bloodfest, okay, I might question it initially just to understand
yeah.
in what context do you
Fair
mean?
deal, fair deal, fair deal, fair deal.
But no,
But I
don't get me
would,
wrong. I mean,
I
if
won't
that's your
go
thing, it's
into
all
it.
good.
Yeah, I won't go into a deep dive, but I would urge like anyone listening into it, if they want to do like case studies of artists who are engaging with fans by themselves and trying to build a community over there, I think Youngblood is a good person to look at. Let's,
I'll check it out. I'll check out Youngblood's fandom fanatics.
yeah,
But and as he was speaking about it, I thought about Tyler, Tyler the Creator as well, in
yep,
the sense of like, because you mentioned Bloodfest, and I was thinking of what is called Camp Flognaw. Is it called his festival as well? And yeah, it's these kind of engagements. But then again, it's like they say, man, not everybody is an entrepreneur, right? And in a sense, what we're asking for is artists to behave like entrepreneurs, and not, all of them are into that. And some artists just want to create the art, and they don't want to have to be like doing
exactly.
like,
So,
you
so
know,
my point over here is not every artist has to do it, but the way they do it can differ, right? Strategies can vary, and for example, if you're looking at, I'm taking an extreme example over here of Taylor Swift, but Taylor Swift isn't always directly engaging with her communities, but there are individual Swiftie fandom / communities that exist everywhere,
yeah,
right? So it's not always
okay,
necessary for the artist to have a direct interaction for that community to live, but someone has to light that spark. Someone has to keep that community still going. Maybe it's not the artist themselves. Maybe it's just the artist's art that's driving the community, but something else. Maybe it's the artist's manager. Maybe it's the artist's friend. But someone has to light that spark and keep that community going. And it has to be part
yeah,
of that.
yeah, cool. Let's see how they do this. Okay, next one. Was there anything after execution?
Okay,
Because we were talking about, yeah,
I broke it down. Then I said execution. Yeah, my third point that I was going to make was actually quite relevant to an earlier discussion about streaming that we were having. But there was a thought in my mind wherein is it going to go to a place where Even also has their own streaming platform? they are not acquiring any streaming platform. They become a streaming platform on its own. As in, it's so the way, like if you look at Spotify right now, Spotify is a streaming platform, and now they are trying to transition more and more into the fan space. They have mentioned it multiple times in their memos and all of their press releases that they are working on a lot of fan features. They are putting out chats as well right now. You can chat with other people over there. They are making communities, fandoms on Spotify. So Spotify is going that route wherein they started as a streaming platform and they are getting into the fan space. I'm talking about the opposite with Even, wherein is Even going to be like, hey, we started out with this. Now let's also crack discovery and top of the funnel things and get into streaming.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I, th- I if I was to get into their minds, it would be part of the product roadmap. It would be a huge item on it, but it would have a question mark on top of it. Should we do it or shouldn't we do it? Should we acquire one or should we build it ourselves? That would be like an obvious one. But then that can also get into the like, when the superstar gets huge and they want to do everything,
Yeah.
and then they, like Michael Jordan trying to play golf, or was
See,
it
it's fine if you do
baseball?
everything, as long as you do everything right.
No,
So,
but that's my point. Like Jordan, I forgot which one it was that he was lacking at, but it was either golf or baseball. One of
mhm.
the ones he was like me. He was like me trying to play to do synchronized swimming. I can swim. I'm a hell of a swimmer, but synchronized, get out of here. Somebody's drowning. It's not me because I'm pulling somebody up to gasp for air. But what I was trying to say is that, yes, exactly what you said, as long as you do it right. So the question is that, will it be that natural progression makes sense for them to do that? But in order to do that, they can't abandon the original model, which is
Yes,
this, which is proven
yes,
very well. So how do they naturally do streaming? Now, this is another thing, right? It wouldn't, in my mind, it would make sense. It would make sense if they did it, but with new numbers, meaning they've cracked this model that they're doing now, and then they almost represent streaming and said the old model wasn't right, the numbers weren't good. We can
correct,
afford to make the numbers better.
correct. I was getting to that point exactly, wherein, uh, A, what is the differentiation that they are giving in terms of a person switching from Spotify to, say, Even, right?
Yeah,
The number one differentiation that they'll already establish is a larger infrastructure in terms of their fan platform already established. And number two, for an artist to suddenly go, hey, stream my music on Even rather than say, hey, stream my music on Spotify, the number one thing that you can incentivize is the money that they're getting out of it.
yeah,
And if they are able to solve that payout in a certain way, uh, I think that will be quite interesting.
yeah,
Probably
exactly.
at Tidal's level, probably around $8-9. I think that's a good starting point per thousand streams. Spotify sits at about $3,000 $4,000 per thousand streams. So if you go at about $9-10 per thousand streams, I think that's a good starting point to get into it.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not groundbreaking or it's not problem solving at all, but it's a good starting point, is what I'm saying.
Nice, nice, really interesting. They've got like this road ahead of them with like all of these interesting options. It's definitely going to be fun to watch and learn from and
Yeah.
predict and shout. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else on that like predictions or deal or what you think it might look like?
To be honest, if they take one route, then they have 10 options after taking that route, right? So it's not a conversation, if it's not, definitely not a conversation that we can have in an hour, and it's not a boardroom meeting that they are going to have that they can say solve it even within a week or 2 weeks, because the permutations and combinations and the domino effect that each decision that they take now onwards is going to be cataclysmic, right? And I
Wow.
think they need to understand that now they are at a position wherein they have many eyeballs on them, so every decision is now a domino effect, and it's going to affect the next, it's going to affect the next, it's going to affect the next, and they have to be incredibly deliberate. They can't be instinctive now. They can't
Yeah.
be let's do it and see what happens. They can't be YOLO. they will have to think of it. They will have to think about consequences. They will have to think about domino effects as to what is going to affect the next, and they have to think of every permutation and combination to the max. And like I said earlier,
Yep.
whatever they might do everything well, but if they don't do execution, they are fucked. So please just
Yep.
stick execution is what I pray, and hope it all goes well for them.
Absolutely. And let's see who they sign up next, because they've been doing partnerships well. Now they're not
Yeah,
about to stop.
for sure.
One, two labels are knocking at their doors. And we're not even just talking about the other two majors, a bunch of other big independents and whatnot. So interesting time. Well done to the team at Even. Well done to the guys at UMG. We'd love to see how this plays out. We welcome any of you to love to
Yeah,
chat and give us some inside knowledge.
definitely, definitely.
Okay, so that's it. We've exhausted our the capacity. Well, we've done a data dump. Our brains are all on this, and if you love
Yeah,
it, then please subscribe. This is going to be on the Mother Fracas page, as well as the Ashish, you want to give your plug, please? I can't be plugging for you.
anyway, yeah, as Yaw said, it's going to be on the Fracas page and it's going to be on SoundSpire's page at the same time. It's been me, Ashish, and it's been him, the great Yaw. Um,
Great,
and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
great Ashish as well. Yeah, thank you.